Hello and welcome to Off the Beaten Tracks. Today, Pat and I will be discussing the criminally overlooked album Blue Tomorrow by the Swimming Pool Cues. And we'll discuss the album itself, and you'll find out whether Pat agrees with me on how terrific this album really is right after this. Hi, we're back with another chat with Pat. Today it is my pick for an album that we shall go through. Today we're going to do the Swimming Pool Cues, their album Blue Tomorrow from 1986. And they were a band out of Georgia, I think Atlanta. And there was a number of bands coming out at that time, the late 70s, early 80s. There was the B-52s, Pylon, the Georgia Satellites, REM, were all kind of coming out at the same time and playing the same clubs down there. The Swimming Pool Cues released 5 albums to date. Blue Tomorrow was their third. Their first 2 were Deep End and then a self-titled album. And they're good. But I happen to think that the Swimming Pool Cues Blue Tomorrow is just a dynamite, a classic album. To me, it was just a major step forward from what they were doing. Heartbreakingly, the album did not sell that well, and they got dropped by A&M Records after this. And what I've always thought, when you hear one of those albums that just, flopped, that is a classic, is what do you do? I mean, you can put out a bad album and it doesn't sell, and you go, I got to do better than this. I gotta pull up my socks. I gotta sit in a room and I gotta write some great songs. If it takes 6 months, if it takes a year, and I'm gonna put out that next album. What do you do when you put out one of the great albums of that year, maybe of the decade, and it flops? How do you get better than that? And that must be unbelievably disheartening. And I think this is one of those albums. It's kind of poppy, country. Maybe a little, is it Tex-Mex in there, would you say?
New wavy, folk, country, Tex-Mex, pop. They're a melange. They are the calico cat of music.
What did you think of the album now that I've just thrown it up to the heavens?
I actually, if I happen to be fanning through records, I will look for that album. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I've listened to it a few times, and I actually listened to it again once more this morning, just to sort of refresh my memory, or early this afternoon. There's 2 songs on it that I'm not particular to. They're okay, but the rest of it, I actually really enjoyed it. And it's going to become part of my songs on my phone, my rotation.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I think the guitar work, the 2 vocalists you have, I think her name is
Anne Richmond Boston.
Yeah, and Richmond Boston has a voice. To me, it sounds like Christine McVie. She has that kind of quality to it. Though the Trouser Press said that she was Linda Ronstadt meets Wanda Jackson meets Sandy Denny.
Yeah, and I hear Linda Ronstadt in it.
Yeah, and the male vocalist has that kind of snarl to his voice, which is just a wonderful back and forth between the two doing the different songs. Big Fat Tractor has that snarl to it, whereas something like Now I'm Talking About Now or Pretty on the Inside, it's just a whole different vibe. And I don't, every time I went through this, I was picking out my favorite songs, and then I'd listen to the next song. So, that's going to be on there. So I think there's literally almost every song on the album I've got on my list of favorite songs. There's not a song I don't like on this album. What are the 2 you don't like?
The 2 that actually I would more closely associate with the B-52s, and that would be Big Fat Tractor and Corruption. Big Fat Tractor in particular is exact. I just saw the B-52s a year and a half ago, actually, at the, I don't know what it's called now, the Sony Center. Rock Lobster. And when you look up the band, the pool cues, the swimming pool cues, a writer actually compares that song to Rock Lobster. Again, not one of my favorites. The B-52s were not in the top of my hit list. So those two, Corruption and Big Fat Tractor.
I love Big Fat Tractor, and in fact, they must have, because this is a redo. It was initially on their first album, and they redid it for this album.
Yep.
But yeah, and then and unfortunately, after this, like we were talking about with Spirit and Sardonicus, where they get to the greatest album of their career so far, A, it doesn't sell well, and B, it basically harbingers the end of the band as we know it. With Spirit, they totally fell apart. And with this band, they lost, and a shame because it just had a magic between the two of them. And for the next album, that was gone. So I just, but you've got to enjoy this for what it is. And it's so many types of music, but it's not schizophrenic. I mean, it's not like,
no,
it all fits together, even though the songs are so kind of little bits of this and little bits of that in there. There's no kind of jarring difference, except maybe Big Fat Tractor, which you but that's the last song on the album, so by then you kind of forgive them. But I really like that. But
Loredo River is the one that comes across as very country, and between the voice, it's the male voice, the male singer, and then when it comes in with the slide guitar, it's like, okay, this is country. And I was actually at one point expecting it to go to my favorite, I got up this morning, my wife left me, my dog done died kind of country. It didn't, but it's borderline. So I mean, it's okay. My favorite, and I think the best song on the album is Now I'm Talking About Now.
They're all great. I love that. Now is One More Heaven has a soaring chorus in it, and the guitar work on Blue Tomorrow is a terrific song.
Yeah.
And Wreck Around.
Wreck Around.
Wreck Around is a good song. I mean, it's got a joy to this album.
Yes.
It's even something like Loredo Radio, is it called? Loredo Radio is
that's the country one.
Yeah. And there's got these surreal lyrics about the DJ is a lizard or something in it. And there's a sense of humor in these songs. There's beauty in these songs. There's really, really good guitar playing in this. I mean, really tasty guitar playing, and I think that's what separates it from their previous album, the self-titled one. Is it's just better produced to me. A lot of reviewers like the self-titled album, just with the big Q on it, which does have some great songs on it. The Bells Ring being one of them, but it just doesn't have this kind of production. And and the songwriting itself is just a big step to me, higher up on the echelon. And I really like this. What would you give this for the music?
For the music, on the whole, I would give it an 8.5 to a 9.
I would give it probably a 9.5. This, just because there's not a single song, probably 10 to me has to be Sgt. Pepper.
12 Days of Dr. Sardonicus.
But this is close to me. This is just when I put this album on, and I've listened to this a million times, every time I love this album. I just think it's one of the classics, and criminally underserved by who A&M Records, who dropped them and didn't promote it. So there you go. Cover. What do you think?
No. The cover, no, that's like, we can't show it up here. That's like a 2.
A 2? There's a certain goofiness to this cover, and I certainly like ponies. But it's a ridiculous cover. I
don't get it.
Trying to sell.
Reflects nothing.
They're in weird, awkward outfits. They have ponies. I don't think it has anything to do really with the album inside. I would probably give maybe a 6. I mean, it's nicely colored. There's some nice colors in it. And I do like ponies, so maybe a 6. But yeah, it's a ridiculous cover to me. Maybe that's part of why it didn't sell. I don't quite know what they were going for with that. But it's a magnificent.
Blue Tomorrow with that cover. I mean, and it's just,
it's
and they
blue
all look, it's got no blue in it. I don't know what the
The
costumes
sky in the
are.
background is blue. And maybe
Okay.
taken tomorrow as opposed to when you're looking at it. I have no idea. I have no idea what they were thinking.
They look unhappy in it.
Well, they're about to get dropped from the record company. Maybe they had some sort of inner feeling about that.
I don't know. It
No,
just,
but,
yeah, no, it's
just
a
wonderful
2.
album. I think so. You're at 9 with this.
I'm at 8.5.
for the music. You're at 2 with the album cover. I'm not pleased with it either. I'm going to go with a 6. But don't let that dissuade you, folks. Go find this album on Discogs.
Yeah.
Go find this album wherever you can find it in a record bin, because you will not be disappointed. If you like
It's good.
pop and country and all those other things we've been talking about, it's all in here and it's all great. So that's the album for today. And it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from her.